Hi, welcome to Movie Review Mom. And if you're new here, I'm the mom, and the movie I'm reviewing today is Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey. I'm super excited about this movie because it is live today on Netflix. Yay! I'm going to give you an overview of the movie, tips for parents, and I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, and even give you some suggestions for recommended movies that are somewhat similar. All right, so first, in a nutshell, this movie is rated PG. It's 2 hours and 2 minutes. And the movie review mom grade I'm giving it is an A. I really enjoyed it. So here's the scoop. It is a jubilant movie that is a breath of fresh air. If you love musicals, you're going to love this. If you don't, quietly step away from the Netflix. It feels like a very colorful Broadway stage play, but it's even better because of the magic of technology and filmmaking. The movie was written and directed by David E. Talbert, and it features an almost entirely African American cast. It's not the typical Christmas show or movie that you might expect, but it will definitely get you in the mood for magic and wonder. Thank you, Netflix, for saving 2020 with all of the awesome movies that you guys have been pumping out this year while we're stuck at home in quarantine. And thank you to Netflix for inviting me to screen this movie early to give you guys the scoop. All right, so let me first give you some tips for parents. It is a family-friendly movie. It's perfect for all ages. Yay, I love that. Little girls, I think especially, are going to love this movie. When your kids have a hard time with math, just remember to teach them about the square root of possible. Well, you're going to learn that in the movie. There's no profanity. There's really no objectionable content. There is a little bit of family relationship issues. There's a death and that kind of stuff, but you don't necessarily see it. And it's handled really well through animation. Some themes that are addressed and taught in the movie are, first of all, I'll give you some lines that are quoted that illustrate some of the themes. One is by Don Juan Diego, who's this awesome matador. And he says, "We wait for no tomorrows." And then, as I mentioned, the character Journey is her name, is played by Madeline Mills. And I'll talk about her in just a second because she's amazing. She says, "The square root of impossible is the possible in me." And then other themes are obstacles, possibilities, of course, be who you're meant to be. And then another line spoken by the grandmother, played by Felicia Rashad, says, "If you believe, it's all possible." All right, so some things that I really liked about the movie is, first of all, I didn't know really anything about it. I didn't know it was going to be a musical. And the musical score by John Debney is spirited with fun variety. Now, I don't know if the girls around the world will stop singing songs from the movie Frozen, but they might. Some of these are very catchy. They're very sweet. And as I mentioned, there's just really nice variety from, kind of jazz to blues to ballads and that kind of thing. Every singer in the cast just blew my socks off. The songs fit perfectly with the scenes and they feel like they really belong. They don't feel like that a movie was built around the songs. It feels like they are blended really well, and that was important. The lively singing and the energetic dancing are just delightful. It reminded me of the joyful spirit in the movie The Greatest Showman, which is quite a compliment because I love that movie. The talented cast includes charismatic performances by Forrest Whitaker, who sings 3 songs, in fact, and he has a very sweet voice. Who knew? I loved his performance. Also, Keegan-Michael Key, who's hilarious, and he sings and dances, and he's awesome. Hugh Bonneville from Downton Abbey, although he doesn't sing or dance, he's just awesome. Felicia Rashad, as I mentioned, no singing and dancing from her, but she's awesome. Justin Cornwell, Annika Noni Rose, and even Ricky Martin, who plays this Spanish matador. Anyway, let me tell you about Madeline Mills. She's a newcomer and she's absolutely adorable and fantastic. Her voice is pure like an angel, and she's definitely got some acting chops and some good comedic timing. And that will surely grant her a future in films if that's what she wants. And do I smell Disney in the future for her? Yeah, probably. She's that good. And who else wants Felicia Rashad to be their grandmother? Yes, please. She's just magical and charming. I thought that this toy matador, played by Ricky Martin, was so much fun, and I wanted to see more of him. The CGI with him is particularly good, but really the CGI throughout the entire movie is what makes it so magical. I love how the live action movie is intertwined with an animation storytelling. And as I said, sometimes delicate moments are brought in with animation, and sometimes it just mixes it up as the grandmother is telling the story. Anyway, I thought that that was handled really well. There's a cute snowball fight scene that used business owners and shop store workers as extras in Norwich, England, where that scene was filmed. Now, it's hard to tell for sure if the story is supposed to take place in England or America because there are both kinds of accents, but the setting is very charming and kind of old world feeling, which lends itself to putting you in the mood for Christmas with snow included. Now, John Legend actually recorded a song called This Song for the movie, and he stated, quote, "As a father, I jumped at the chance to be involved with a holiday film that's both inspirational and inclusive, a film with a great message where my kids can see themselves reflected on the screen." He wrote some of the other songs and produced this movie as well. The costume designed by Michael Wilkinson is extremely vibrant and colorful and detailed with a lot of really fun touches. Keep watching, by the way, during the closing credits for some more cute images that match the job titles of the crew in a very clever way. I thought that that was awesome. Now, there were just a few tiny things that I didn't like, but hardly anything. First of all, in the beginning of the movie, it seemed like the lips didn't quite match the voices. In other words, the audio and the video were kind of out of sync a little bit, but that's hard to do. All of the songs are good. Not all of them are going to be really memorable, though. There are some kind of cheesy, overacted, cliched moments, but all is forgiven. And then the story kind of builds up to this toy that needs to be ready in time for Christmas, but that part of the story really doesn't come until quickly towards the end. And so that part of it felt a little bit rushed. And then the toy really looks an awful lot like Wall-E, from the Disney movie Wall-E. And they thought surely they could have made it look a little bit more different and original. But again, all is forgiven because it's pretty cute. There are a lot of plots and a lot of things that are happening in the story. And so some of the storylines feel a little bit rushed in that regard as well. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I laughed, I tapped my toes, I just had a really good time. And I think your family will too. Now, I know some adults will think, oh, it's really a kid's movie. But if you have little kids and you want to join them, again, I think that you'll have a good time together as a family and you'll have some good things worth talking about. So on my website, moviereviewmom.com, you can read some of the funny lines and the interesting lines that I wrote down as I was watching the movie. I'll share just a couple of them with you right now. So there's this scene where a boy and a girl are trying to do something. And the little boy says, well, what makes you think you can get it to work? And the little girl says, because there's nothing that says I can't. And there's that great empowering messaging in kids' movies that is so popular nowadays. And then another scene happens where a woman says, the magic isn't just in what you've lost, it's in what you still have. Because there's sort of a melancholy storyline where someone has lost something and can't quite get it back. And so she's reminding them, you still have that magic in you, and focus on that. And then towards the very end of the movie, Forrest Whitaker, with all of his great wisdom, says, never be afraid of what you can see. Only be afraid if you no longer see it. And again, that refers to the magic that you can see in the world and that childlike wonder that we all tend to experience once a year at Christmas time. So while there's nothing really about Santa Claus and elves and, the typical Christmassy stuff, there's definitely that sense of wonder. And I love that about this movie. And so, as I mentioned earlier, if you enjoy this movie, I highly recommend the movie The Greatest Showman. It'll have that same sense of wonder and music and dancing and buoyant, effervescent joy that comes through exploring the wonder that's in the world. And I think it's a great way to kick off the Christmas season. By the way, be sure and check out another Christmas movie that actually aired last week in theaters for the first time, called The Santa Box. I'll actually play my review right after this one so you can really get into the Christmas mood. All right. Well, thank you so much for your financial support, for all of you over at Patreon who are supporting me. I really appreciate it. And if you didn't know about Patreon, be sure and check out my Patreon account where you can get all kinds of gifts and fun access just for tossing a few pretty pennies to support this channel. I really appreciate it. All right, that's it for today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I will catch you in the next video. And until then, bye for now.